Guys, welcome back to another lesson. Now, today we are going to be doing a lesson on something which is, essentially a little bit of a follow-on from the sexting and the chatting lesson that we did as well. Okay, so this is going to be, some kind of stage one of some of the advanced account chatting techniques, and this is going to focus on how you can essentially categorize each subscriber and start making more money out of them by knowing essentially how to actually manage those subscribers individually, right? So I shall just kind of hop into it, and obviously this Google document I'm on here is going to be uploaded as well for you guys, so you can literally just use it to copy off and go through and categorize yourselves, right? So it should be a reasonably quick lesson, to be fair, but it is something that if you implement it will make a world of difference. Okay, let me just share my screen with you guys. Cool. Just to confirm, as I always like to, can you guys all see my Google document that says advanced account chatting techniques? Yeah, good stuff. Cool. So as we're saying that, the aim with this is going to be to essentially nurture your fans. And by nurturing them, you're only ever going to make more money off them, right? You're going to start hitting some really crazy numbers where you get fans, spending over $1,000 a month with you. Now, the only way you're going to be able to achieve this is by knowing specifically and by having your chatter know specifically what it is that each subscriber is into, what it is that each subscriber likes, right? And you're going to be doing this on kind of a full account scale if you can. So in terms of kind of how this works, I'll get into that in a moment, but just a little disclaimer. Now, this method is very, very effective. It can be a little bit difficult to execute with regards to, obviously, it's going to require you to properly train your chatter and kind of precisely explain how you want everything working. There's no use you doing this a little bit and doing it for a few fans and not doing it for all of them because you're just missing out, all right? So this is going to be the difference really for you guys of essentially hitting good numbers and hitting crazy numbers, right? And the best way of doing it is by essentially putting an emoji at the start of their name, which is going to allow you to know a whole load more about them. So, you're going to get to a point where each subscriber probably has 4 or 5 emojis by their name, and those emojis are going to essentially dictate how you act with them, what kind of content you send them, and essentially how you're going to just interact with them in general. Okay, so we'll start nice and simple. So this is, one of the key categories, and that is what we call the whale. Now, you guys have probably heard me mention this a little bit before. Obviously, we've got the little whale emoji there. So these are subscribers who are going to essentially spend over $500 monthly with your model. And in case you guys are wondering, you can hop on your OnlyFans account, and if you click on the subscriber, you can go into their details and you can see how much they've spent in the past few months. So you can essentially get cracking on this straight away if you sign a model already doing half decent in OF, right? Now, they need to be nurtured in quite a personal way, right? So with your whales, the idea with a whale is to essentially try and keep as much conversation as possible going throughout the day. Now, I'm not saying you have to speak to them 24/7 and they're letting you know about a meeting they just had at work. Maybe do that because it does work very well, but at least you want to be spending kind of 5 or 6 messages minimum just throughout the day. Oh, how's your day going? How was work? I don't know, what did you get for lunch? Whatever. Bit of kind of personal conversation. You want them to almost start thinking they're in kind of a little virtual relationship with this model. All right. So whales. Lots and lots of attention. Tell your chatter to focus on them, really, really build up a relationship. Try and find out if they've got any pets, find out what their fucking favourite colour is, whatever. You're going to want to nurture these guys really, really well, okay? Because these are going to be the core of your fan base who are going to be, potentially doing kind of half the amount of money, right? So let's say you've got 100 fans. You could have 5 or 10 fans who do, 50% of the revenue on that account, and the other 90 make up for it in kind of smaller amounts. So by having a core group of whales, for example, Evan today, when he made how much did he make off that model today, Evan? Off that subscriber?
Well, altogether so far 120, but just
120.
80 for the
Precisely. One subscriber, 120, and it's not even 7 o'clock yet, okay? That is definitely going to be a whale, okay? So what Evan you do is you put a whale emoji by his name so that you know that you need to be focusing on him. As soon as you see a message pop up from him and he's online, ready and then even to chat to, you're there, all right? Cool. So following on from that is going to be this little smiley face, and that is that they are a solid spender, okay? So these are going to be essentially the bread and butter of your OnlyFans account and sexting program. They're probably not going to speak too much in the daytime. They're probably going to message you every couple of nights, at prime time, maybe 9 o'clock in bed. They're going to buy some of the pay-per-views. They're going to speak to you a little bit, maybe kind of purchase some content, whatever, do a bit of sexting. They're really solid, okay? They are going to be spending, probably around $200, $250 a month, right? Obviously, these numbers are kind of just, examples. It could vary massively from account to account, but, the solid spend spenders, the guys who interact with you, will buy the odd piece of content, and are kind of the bread and butter of the OnlyFans account, right? Cool. So we've had whale, we've had solid spender. Now it's going to be time for the time waster. Okay. Now, obviously, little hourglass emoji there. So you are going to want to be really, really wary of spending too much time replying to somebody who isn't buying and isn't tipping. As a general rule, if you sext them and speak to them all evening and they've not sent you a penny, it's not looking great. They're looking like a time waster. Maybe give them the benefit of the doubt. Try again the next day. If the same thing happens, give them the hourglass emoji. And what you want to do with them is, it's not a case of you just stop messaging them, because that would be ridiculous. You are going to want to use some of the ultimatums that we discussed in the sexting lesson to try and force their hand into spending. So if you guys recall that lesson, we went over there essentially how you can say things like, oh, if you're not going to tip me, I'm going to go speak to someone else, get a bit of jealousy involved, or do you not think I'm worth it? Play on the heartstrings a little bit, or even just ignore them. Oh, you're not tipping me, I'm just not even going to speak to you. Okay, so time wasters. Another element of time wasting, to be fair, can be ones that just continually ask, like, oh my god, can we meet up? Can I Snapchat you? Can I fucking have your number? Whatever. None of that, right? That doesn't run. So that is what you're going to categorize as a time waster as. Now look, 100%. If you use some of the ultimatums and they start buying again and they start getting into the routine, you can change from a time waster into a solid spender. And who knows, they're going to be a solid spender for a bit. They could start showing kind of, the whale signs, spending masses on kind of big tips, stuff like that. Boom, now they're a whale. So it's always something which is kind of moving up and down, right? So yeah, just be really, really wary of that. And, just let your sexter know that you do still want to interact with them, but you're going to have to be really quite firm with the ultimatums discussed in the sexting lesson. All right? Does that make sense to everyone so far? Those three categories. Yeah?
Yeah.
Any questions at all about those three? Cool. So, now we've got past kind of the main three ones you're going to use to categorize. There's going to be a lot of other little things that are going to make a huge difference too. So, little bread emoji that we use. So, he's told us that he doesn't send dick pics, right? So, if you've gone through that sexting script and the other sexting lesson, right? And or your chatter has indeed, and you've asked for the whole, let me see you, whatever, and they've said no because they don't feel comfortable doing it. I mean, it's 50-50 really. Quite a lot of guys won't feel comfortable doing that. Okay, don't be asking them again when you do the script again. It just doesn't work. So what you do for your chatter is, or what you get your chatter to do, they put a little bread emoji at the front of their name. So okay, cool, he doesn't send dick pics. I'm going to just skip that part of the sexting script out. All right, make sense? So you're not going to make them feel bad. You're not going to put any pressure on them to try and send it. And you're not just kind of continually asking the same thing. Once again, really feeds into that kind of personal, that kind of personal level. All right, does that make sense? Good stuff. So. Cross emoji. So he's told us he doesn't sext. If you're trying to initiate scripts and he essentially says, I'm not interested, I don't really want to talk dirty to you, I just want to buy pay-per-views, whatever, give a little X, not to waste your time on the sexting scripts, all right? Next. So this is the little notebook emoji. So that will mean that there's something written in their notes. So in terms of notes, you can do it in one or two ways. So we essentially say, if it's before their name, put it in little brackets. If it's before their name, it's going to be important. If it's after their name, it's not important. So for example, what they do for work, it's not particularly important, but it's really good for conversation starting. You're going to want to, as you speak to these guys, you're going to want to essentially, try and build up just a little log and a little bit of information about them that's going to make this even more personal. If they tell you that they work at a insurance company, ask them, I don't know, how many insurance policies did you sell today as a conversation starter? Because that is going to be 1,000,000% different to the 10 other OnlyFans girls you subscribe to who just pop up being like, oh, look at me, I'm naked this evening, all right? So that is going to be a really, really effective method as well. So use notes, find out little nuggets of information, what do they like? Maybe your model has a dog and they have a dog as well, I don't know. So use the notes, find out more information about the subscriber, and this is what is going to kind of set your service aside. As soon as you start knowing stuff about them, the relationship's going to build quicker and they're going to spend more money. Okay? Does that make sense? Cool. Any questions about those couple there? Or anything I've gone through so far at all? Go on.
Whereabouts, the emojis?
Yeah.
How do you fill in those emojis, like in the chat?
Yeah, no, just on their name. So you can edit the name of the subscriber.
All right, grand, yeah.
Yeah. It's simple. You'll just click the name and you can edit it, right?
Okay.
Cool. So another really right, cool. So another.
So how?
Oh, sorry. Did someone have a question? Go for it. 1 second.
Yeah. So I've had a few models be really good, and I'll get going to where I've had fans that are paying quite a bit. but then like they'll mention like hooking up, and then after, like, how do you kind of approach that situation?
Yeah,
like
really interesting question.
Because I've had a lot of fans be like that, and I've got, you know, $300, $400, $500 out of them, but then once you kind of like swerve that question, they just don't come back, you know.
Sure. So this is kind of, you know, one of the age-old questions of OnlyFans management, right? Is how do you approach people that just continually ask to meet up? Now, yes, they're spending. So the issue is, if they're spending, you need to you have to nurture the relationship, right? So what we tend to go down the lines of. So I'm going to just say a few things that are really, really important. A, never ever, please, any of you, never ever try and arrange a meetup. One, never ever say that a meetup's going to happen and take the money for it and then just not deliver. Don't ever do that. Stay away from all that, right? That is a completely different industry, and that's not an industry that's legal, right? However, you can be suggestive of the fact that if they keep speaking to you, you may eventually meet up. Okay, so I've met a couple of my fans in the past, but they were really, really big subscribers. But I'd only ever do it after I get to know someone really well, and I've spoken to them for 4 or 5 months. Saying something like that suggests the fact that if they stay, there's potential it's going to happen. You've not said it is going to happen, okay? That would be the best way of essentially handling it. But look, 100%, essentially, you just want to be really, really careful that you don't go down that route, okay? But you can be suggesting the fact that, maybe, but I'd have to have been speaking to you for at least 6 months, so I really know you, whatever, all right? And then just extract as much money as possible, and then, you know, if it really comes to it, they're actually still there after 6 months. Never usually happens, but just put it off again. Just that's how you do it, all right? But just don't ever kind of, obviously, you know, say, yeah, we'll do it, and then they send you the money, and just, you know what I mean? Just stay away from all that. But that's a much better option than just being like, no. All right?
Could you say, like, oh, I met my ex-boyfriend on OnlyFans, and he used to, like, spend a lot of money on me?
Yeah.
And, like, could you say something like that?
Yeah. Of course you can. 100%. Anything like that. Anything that is suggestive, but not said with any certainty. Okay? So just kind of play it by ear. But because I get where you're coming from with that, because it can, you know, it does happen. It happens on every OnlyFans account, really. You know, that's why guys are on there. The issue really is that you know, but if you just flat say no, you know, the likelihood is they're not going to bother. So yeah, do that, Evan. What Evan's just said works very well in terms of kind of, you know, just be suggestive, but don't say anything with any certainty. All right, does that make sense? I don't know. I can't say much.
Yeah, I just pretty much right now say
Good stuff. Okay, lovely. So that takes us kind of very nicely onto our next emoji. So this is the blue face with ice. I don't quite know what to refer to it as, but this is going to be waiting for a custom, right? Now this is really important. So obviously, as we discussed at length before, you want to have a custom done, you know, within 2 days. Okay, so the blue face emoji means they're waiting for a custom, right? Now that should be, you know, that should act as a timer. If you see that face on there, you need to know where that's coming from and when it's coming, right? It's really, really damaging if you make someone wait for a custom more than 2 days. You know, ideally in 1 day or even in the same evening if the model is kind of at that level, but it should never be more than 2 days, okay? So if you've got a couple of them on your message list, it's going to really, really easily allow you to actually go down and double check that everything's as it should be. Because look, don't get me wrong, guys, it's so easy to, you know, you're taking a $100 tip for a custom, you text it to your model, you get 100 other messages, you're doing something different the next day, you're not going to remember, okay? So by using this categorization method, it's going to make sure you never slip up and you never ever fuck up a custom. Because if you fuck up a custom, they will A, probably get it refunded off OnlyFans, and B, probably unsubscribe, right? And if they're paying for customs, it's usually the sign of a very, very good subscriber, either a smiley face or an emoji, so or a whale even. So that is essentially what I would essentially do. Okay, so make sure as soon as the custom's asked, put that face there. And every time you log onto that OnlyFans account, you see that face, it needs to be a reminder, fuck, I need to get a custom done, All right, cool. So the next emoji, that's going to be the dollar sign, right? So that is just going to be essentially they send random tips for no reason. That is going to mean give them more attention, right? You know, you guys have probably experienced it so far. Maybe a guy subscribed and just sends you like a little $5 or a little $10 tip, right? Not a huge amount of money at all. if you're selling kind of videos for $40, $50, it's not. It's pretty incomparable. But just them sending random tips for no real reason is a very, very good buying signal. So you're going to want to give them quite a lot of attention and obviously see kind of where they're at, and, where they're going to really end up with regards to being, a good or kind of a poor subscriber. Cool. So random tips, definitely give them more attention. Next, it's just going to be like the handshake emoji. So that's just going to be if they prefer a set rate to sext with just content unlocked. So look, a lot of guys that come on OnlyFans are very much kind of they want to flirt with you, they want to speak to you. A lot of guys on there are quite pragmatic. Maybe they're just like, how much for 20 minutes sexting and 3 videos? And you give them a set rate, and then they do it, right? So if someone's into that, if they're a pragmatic person, they like to negotiate a price or decide a price with you before initiating a sequence, give them a little handshake emoji so you know that there's someone who you can essentially just, cut a deal with and then just get straight into it, all right? That is what I would do there. Now, the next one is going to be the calendar emoji. So that is going to mean they are waiting for payday. So just in their notes, just put PD and then the dates, okay? So obviously, you don't want to pester them, right? Let's say they say, yeah, I'm going to buy this video, but I get paid on the 31st of on the 30th of November, right? You're not gonna want to pester them for the rest of the month when they have no money, because that's just going to make them feel bad, right? So write in their payday, and then when it comes to payday, pop up to them, be flirty, brilliant, they've just been paid, they've got more money to spend, straight on it. We've had accounts where, we've known the exact payday of, 50, 60 guys, and when that payday comes and we kind of target them with messages, the buying is significantly increased. So this is why categorization is so key. Obviously, it's a little bit advanced kind of from anything we've done with regards to sexting before, but it does work really well. Okay, now little female sign emoji there is female subscriber. Okay, now it very much does happen. You can even get like couples that subscribe that are into a bit of that, whatever. But it just kind of shows your chatter how they need to approach it, because if you pop up to a female subscriber and say, "Hey, daddy," it's going to be a bit weird, isn't it? It's not really going to work. So you're going to want to know kind of gender. It's rare you get female subscribers, but it does happen, all right? So definitely make sure that, if you do get one, make sure you kind of categorize them so you can approach it the right way. There's nothing worse than approaching it the wrong way. Okay, cool. Peach emoji is that the guy specifically is going to be into kind of like ass play, content, anal, all that kind of thing. So target them with more of these videos, right? Now, the great thing about this categorization, okay, is that you can essentially have, maybe you can have 5 emojis by somebody, okay? And you're going to know all the information about them just by putting 5 emojis there. So let's say they are a solid spender, they don't send dick pics, they are into arse content, and they also have a foot fetish. Now you know everything about them, so you're going to know exactly what to send to them, exactly what lines and kind of what strings to pull, and it's just going to end up in you rinse them for even more money, all right? So, as play content, target them with more of these videos, okay? Maybe offer them customs relating to that even. Feet emoji, foot fetish, make sure you're targeting them with feet content. So, maybe get your model to do like a special video for them, or, offer them a custom with regards to that as well. Okay, so next is going to be submissive. So obviously going to kind of completely change the dynamic that you'd normally take. So take a domineering approach when sexting if they're submissive, humiliate them, etc. We've all encountered this. Everyone that's signed a model so far, you get guys that are into this. So that is going to be something that you really want to push on. Next emoji, little face like blowing out air. So that is going to be that the guy likes to be dominant. You're going to essentially go along the lines of calling daddy, being submissive to him, and whatever. So the really great thing about these two is if you look at the last sexting lesson, when you set up your automated message and you say something like, "Hey, what's your name, or what would you like me to call you?" straight away you put this emoji on, because you're going to know straight away. Hey, what would you like me to call? What's your name, or what would you like me to call you? Oh, call me daddy. Cool, dominant emoji straight off the bat. What's your name? What would you like me to call you? Oh, I want you to call me little bitch. Cool, submissive emoji straight off the bat. There and then. And that is going to shape that entire conversation that you have with them throughout the months they're subscribed to this OnlyFans account, all right? Next is going to be a little ring emoji. So that is going to be they have a wife/girlfriend. Now, a lot of guys kind of do like to tell you this, like, I've got a girlfriend, I want his secretly, whatever, kind of adds to the whole the whole vibe of it. So it's just a really, really good conversation start on that one. So if you know that, it can lead to some really, really good scripted sexting. For example, messaging, "Oh, is your wife out? Can we talk? Oh, I love it when I've got you on my own," whatever, right? So by knowing that if they have a partner or not, that's going to, allow for some really, really great conversation starters as well, okay? So yeah, in terms of stacking these, you could even have a guy that's got 7, 8 emojis on him. That's the great thing about this method, right? Cool. Next is going to be bisexual. play on this during sexting, talk about some fantasies. Maybe if your model does kind of some, maybe boy-girl or girl-girl content, that could work really, really well. Okay. Now, the next one is going to be the eye roll emoji. Now, this one is essentially going to be, they do spend, but they try to chat for free quite a lot. So once again, you're going to want to just try and push for more tips and more message messages and let them know if they aren't tipping, they aren't going to get your time. Okay, so that's kind of essentially a grey area. This little emoji is going to be a grey area between someone who is a time waster and then someone who's a solid spender. All right, so that's essentially where that slots in. Cool. So the next one is a little, obviously, like red. That's a stop emoji, I guess it is. Okay, and that is going to be, don't message this person at all because they're complex. Threatening behaviour can't be tolerated. It's got a potential to endanger the model's safety. We've had issues in the past where that has happened in terms of guys making threats and just being creepy. None of that, right? If they start doing that, or if they start showing signs of being a little bit kind of overly invested, there's a very fine line, all right? So just put that and then don't message them, because at the end of the day, you can't have threats and anything like that. Because if your model goes on and sees them making threats and stuff, it's just not gonna make yourselves look good, all right? Regardless of whether they're spending money or not, it's not worth it, okay? Next is going to be kind of the final one. Little bell emoji, and that is going to be that they've spent before, but they stopped paying. So essentially, it's going to be on you to try and figure out why. Maybe you need to build some bridges. Maybe they waited too long for a reply. Maybe they waited too long for a custom. Maybe they were into being dominated, and you called them daddy, and you didn't remember they were into being dominated because you didn't use the emoji, and now they're pissed off at you, right? So that is going to be your kind of job to try and build that bridge and essentially find out what it is that you need to do to get them back to being a good paying customer. All right, cool. So, that kind of sums up the little emoji list that we use. What I'd say, guys, you don't have to use this this kind of, all at the moment. Maybe you just want to pick 5 that you're going to use in terms of, knowing what they're into and knowing if they're a good spender or not, because this obviously is pretty detailed. But, I definitely recommend, as you're literally, you don't have to go on an account now and just be like, oh, fuck it, I'm going to categorize all 100 of them. Don't do it like that. As you chat to them, get the vibe, put a few emojis, find that bit of info, and then that's just going to help you essentially kind of push forward the whole sexting side. Now, basically, if you've got a chatter, which I know some of you guys do, literally just send them essentially the emoji list that you want them to use, explain to them how you want it done, and explain to them why, and you should be absolutely grand, okay? So yeah, as it kind of says here, by categorizing them effectively, you're going to be able to essentially target messages to the different demographics, which is going to result in higher sales, okay? So you can find out a lot about a new sub, literally just by asking a question from the sexting lesson, initials, what you're into, what do you like, etc., and then categorize accordingly, right? So building great, long-lasting relationships with subs, it's just the best way of ensuring long-term growth, because if you have that core group of big spenders, it's the backbone of the account. It doesn't matter if you lose a few subs or you gain a few subs, the backbone of the account's still there. You're still going to be doing very, very solid money, and you're nurturing other subscribers into becoming those large spenders, all right? Does that make sense to everyone, what I've just gone through there? Has anyone got any questions at all? Feel free to shoot away. Oh, loads of you guys. Lovely stuff. Anyone got any questions at all with regards to what I've just been through there? Maybe, if you guys, Evan, for example, okay? So after you've watched that lesson there, now you've got that model's account, are you going to go on and kind of, add some emojis to the name so you kind of now know who to target with what?
Yeah. So just probably, to be fair, I've only 4 subscribers that actually text me, but they all spend well. I get, what was it, the guy say, it was actually 150 that he spent to me today so far, so.
Solid.
Yeah, I'll just.
Whale there and then. Sorted. Yeah. Great stuff indeed. Has anyone got any questions with regards to anything else you may have encountered? Any help you need, anything at all, just before we jump off? I know we did a general Q&A on Tuesday, but feel free. Yeah. Oh, Evan again, go for it.
So, back to that Brazilian one. So, with the banking, I've heard people in this Discord that they've added their own banking details to their model's account. How could I do that?
Via Y. It depends. Did you set Y's on?
Yeah, but remember I told you she had her previous account. She forgot her password for it.
Okay. Try it with yours. It's hit and miss. Because the issue is sometimes you have to send a picture of the model holding up her license, which obviously if it doesn't match the bank account, it's a little bit.
I'm just worried, if I put in my own details, the account won't get banned or anything, in case.
No, it's not going to get banned. They just won't allow you to connect it. It's not like they kind of go about it another way, mate. All right? Cool. Any more before we jump off? I mean,
Is there any chance I get 2 or 3 recent screenshots, mate?
Yes, 100%. I'll ping some over to you after this call. In fact, what I'll do is straight after, I'll put some updated results into the results channel for you guys, and then you can obviously kind of just have a little mooch and utilize some of them with whatever you guys need doing. All right.
Amazing, thanks, bro.
No worries at all.
Actually, Harry.
Yeah, man.
Just a quick one. When you're putting in clients' contracts for sale. Say, for example, a girl who's averaging, kind of new to it, averaging about $2 to $5 grand a month. How much would you charge for someone like that?
Drop me a message, Sky. Because the thing is, mate, it depends on a huge amount of demographics. Like, it's not all just about money. It's about reach, previous, everything like that. So yeah, just ping me a message, really, bro. But so that pretty much covers the kind of the categorization lesson, guys. Hopefully that's been helpful. That will literally revolutionize your sexting game, right? By using the script and knowing exactly what the guy's into, so you can pinpoint your messages straight away. That's going to be the difference between you taking $100 on a script or 200 or 300. All right. So I'd say definitely, guys, in terms of kind of like a little action point for you guys, obviously for the ones of you that have signed models already, I'd say if you can, next time you're on, or if you've got a chatter, just start adding a few little emojis, play around with it, see how it works. If you know a guy likes a certain piece of content or a certain type of content, target them with that, and you will see that it's only logical, really. Think of it like targeted ads on kind of Facebook and Instagram, right? If you like a lot of football content, you're going to get targeted with ads for football boots, right? Same principle here. If you're, if they've informed you they like kind of maybe like boob content, target them with boob videos because they're going to buy more of them. All right, cool. So 100%, guys. Really, really great chatting to you all. And as per usual, obviously, if you guys need anything at all, bang a message in the Discord, and I shall see you all next week. All right.
Thank you,
Harry.
All right.
Thank you. Take care.
See you in a bit, guys.